We do that to ourselves.
Day 3 of
we
deer
just
camp.
fart.
Dude, I didn't eat dinner last night and went hunting, and then on the walk out, all the air from being hungry just was ripping out.
Yeah.
Those First Light pants. I don't know if they'll ever be the same.
First
How
Light,
many
last-
Ozonics machines can you get?
First Light, last stench.
This is the Okayest Hunter podcast. Never pass on shooter bucks, because that's just meat in the freezer. It's your tag, you hunt how you want. This is Okayest Hunter.
And we're back for another week of shenanigans here on the Okayest Hunter podcast, coming at you from Oconomowoc, Wisconsin. Brought to you by Half Wreck. I got nothing weird to say today. I feel bad.
I think you got it out of your system.
I said it with my,
Maybe,
you know.
maybe you got it out of your system.
I will find out.
My guess is not.
What are you guys holding there? What do you got?
I don't know. This is a practice release mechanism.
I'm practicing working out that trigger finger.
There you go.
Seasons here. Now these are from Brian? Good sit.
That's
Yep.
right.
Good
Thank
sit
you,
moment.
Brian.
Good sit sent us some stuff for a good sit.
Mhm.
That trigger finger going.
Yeah.
I am so I keep talking. So okay, I am not gonna do a good job tonight. My
You're gonna
brain
do great.
is not good
Come on.
today. This is gonna be the most okayest podcast we've probably ever done. Anyway, half-rack.com. Use code OHP. It'll save you 15% off of your purchase. Some fun things coming from those guys in the very near future, from like us collaboratively. So nothing product related, just some fun internet stuff. I'm trying to be clear as to what I'm saying. And their new cooler that they have, the Meat Lug, is giant. You've seen it. We've had it in here. It's very
Didn't one of your
large.
kids crawl in it?
I actually saw Knights of the Apex put like a ozone jammer thing in there and zipped it up and put some clothes in there. He was using it as a way to like kill scent.
Hmm.
I was like, oh, I would have not thought of that in 100 years. That's kind of neat little video. But it doesn't come with like a strap, like a shoulder strap. But I have some half rack gunslings. And I'm like, I wonder if I can get a gunsling to hook from either side of that thing, because there are those little, what are those called? Those little brackets with the little notch on it. They
Yeah, with the
slide
hole
them.
for the
Mhm.
clip.
Is there a name for that clip? Because that's the same type of clip that's on our Latitude platform or saddles for the legs.
Okay.
I'm just looking
The
at you
G
because
clips.
the G clip. Yes,
The
not going to
gangster
make
clip.
any.
The
Yeah, the
gangster.
gangster clip. I love those things, but I also hate them. I love them because they're easy to slide on. They're a nightmare to get back off. So it's usually I'm like at the bottom of the tree trying to leave, and I'm like, I'm not walking out with this thing wrapped around my you know what. I'm going to undo the G clip, and I'm sitting there putzing around with it, bending over.
Hitting
On
your
my
G
thigh.
spot more than you're hitting the G
Yeah,
clip.
it's awkward, man. Anyway, so I'm going to see if I can get the half rack cooler to work
you
with a
still
gunsling.
working on that G clip? Oh yeah.
yeah. Oh,
Almost got it.
I got it.
Oh,
Damn it. It's still stuck.
we're back, everybody.
So, yeah, I don't know. I think Half Rack has a lot to offer. We talk about their stuff quite a bit because they choose to sponsor this whole entire thing. And that extends to the YouTube/Carbon TV show. If you watch it, it says presented by Half Rack. And so if you don't know what that is, now you know. If you don't know, now you know, people.
Mhm.
And I will say, if you haven't watched the show yet, I did a little push yesterday on social because we've gained a number of followers on social. So there's a lot of people that have never seen or heard from us in any context. They might not even know we have a podcast for all I know, or that we sell merch, or we have a show. that we
Check
put
her out.
Oh, it reminds me. I need to do the interviews tonight.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Oh,
Afterward for this season's
Good thing I said it.
shit show.
Yes, this season's shit show. We'll see how it goes. Well, that's how it went.
Mhm.
Maybe that's what this one will be called. That's how it went. I don't know. We don't have to always play off of that. It was just a fun little get. I think it's actually confused people more than anything because I'm calling it the Okayest Hunter show. And they're like, what, like the podcast? I'm like, no, like I can't call it a TV show, but I feel like I need to deem it that so people understand it's not the podcast. So I'm not as good of a marketer as I think I am because I totally shit the bed on the naming convention of this whole thing. I could have just called it "We'll see how it goes" and then just kept it as that. Season
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know.
I think you're all right.
Maybe.
No input.
I don't know. Need some more thinking. Maybe. I don't know.
No. All right, Greg. Then you are the man for the job.
Oh
sir.
no,
Spartan Forge will be on the show.
you're a stinker. Not
I'm
a thinker tonight.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. I am. I'm pre-recording with Bill because I'm out next week, so no need to be here next week in the Stinky Studio. We will
I'll be out west anyway.
adjourn.
So
You're doing some work stuff. Or you? What are you doing?
I'm running away. That's all you need to know.
Yeah. Okay. It's my fault.
See your shirt?
Take me to the Deer
Deer
Woods.
Woods. He's gone.
How's your season going so far? The bow season opened up. We're gonna bring our guest on. Sorry, Corey. Just hang out there for a minute, buddy. We'll bring you in a minute.
Season's open. Greg and I both hunted.
Yeah, opening
were-
day.
You were opening evening. I was opening morning.
Yep.
I saw 2 does. I posted up on the ground. They came in gray light and were way too close for my liking. And I thought the doe was going to blow because I was drenched in sweat from walking in
Just
through
reeking.
a mile of buckthorn. And I set up, and somehow that doe just was pretty chill with me. She just looked at me for a while and then fed off through the acorns. And then, as I mentioned before, a turkey was roosted in the tree right in front of me that I did not know about. So after sitting for about an hour and a half, it flew down and
Scared you?
scared the crap out of me. And that was my opening day. Oh, aside from thinking I lost my quiver for about an hour and a half.
You did lose it for an hour and a half.
I did.
Technically.
Yeah.
If you wanna,
It fell
like,
off
get-
my bow. Somehow I bent my bow quiver, like the mount
Yeah.
Okay.
is like a little bit tweaked. My bow did fall out of a tree last year. Could have been that, but
It
my,
could have been when it fell out of the
Might have been
freaking.
that.
could have been that. Could have been the
the-
midnight.
At least could have been the
the
midnight
new gay art
show
show.
took place in my room. I don't know.
But yeah, so
It's a gift.
I
Derek.
looked down after doing some scouting and walking through some thick stuff and noticed the quiver was no longer attached to my bow. Was when the panic began to ensue. And figured it was in this really nasty little thick part, and it just, grabbed on the right way and pulled it off. And I went back and looked and looked and looked and couldn't find it. And ended up walking all the way back to where I hunted in the morning, couldn't find it, walked all the way back, did some more passes through the thick stuff, trying to remember exactly where I walked. And I had just given up and was walking back to my stand and my bow. And turns out it fell off about 15 feet from where I stopped. It had just fallen in the grass in a way that when I walked back on the trail, it was pointing toward me, and then everything was foreshortened. I couldn't see it. And when I walked back, I was like, oh, there's that quiver I just walked 1.2 miles and spent an hour and a half looking for.
Mm,
Right there.
that
So,
hurts.
okayest moments. We're living up to our name.
Cool. And
How about you?
You went out, right, Greg?
Yeah, went out. Had deer go right around me, like right downwind, never blew. They knew something was up. They had to have, because they hustled pretty quickly through the grass. And I just saw them through the willows in the grass. I could hear them crashing around. And there was more than one. I saw like the flicker of a tail, and I saw a little bit of brown. I don't know how many there were, but they made it across the ditch. And all of a sudden I saw the corn moving around. Oh, they're off in the corner already. I missed my opportunity. And then a little bit later, I had the little guy come through. I knew there'd be more because there's quite a few deer out there. And through the cattails, I thought I heard one sneeze. And all of a sudden, I hear a twig snap behind me, and I turn around and look, and right down the trail it came. And the wind had shifted. That's the third time it shifted. It was out of the north, and it was blowing my stink right down that trail. I'm like, anything smells me, they're just going to go right around this whole island of stuff and probably blow and carry on and then just keep on going. I never heard any deer blow. They just quietly moved around me, except for that little guy.
Right there.
Anyway, he continued to just eat all of the green leaves off the branches I had just trimmed like 2 hours before and just lay at the bottom of the tree.
So you were baiting.
Apparently. So
That's good to hear. Sounds like a good
Shots
start.
fired.
yeah, shots fired.
Cool photos.
Yeah.
Really
you know,
cool.
he fed there for about a half an hour and worked his way off because I could hear Mama in the cattails like breathing heavily, and I thought for sure she's gonna blow eventually. She never did, and then he kind of wandered off through the cattails again and went back by Mama.
Were you going to take a doe opening night?
I was hoping to take one, yeah, to fulfill part of my obligation out there on that piece, but it didn't happen.
No doe's taken.
Nope.
All right. Well, we do have a guest with us today. Corey Smith. Welcome to the show. I don't know why you decided to be here, but here you are anyways.
Best opening. Just cracked a beer.
Mm-hmm.
Well done, Corey.
Well timed.
Yes.
Probably getting thirsty over there waiting for us. Sorry about that. So tell me where your name's trademarked. Is that legit or is that just visual?
It's well, I like to tell people it's legit, but it's really not. I just found I just copy and pasted that thing in there to make me look more official than I am. Because
It worked.
it does. I mean, I can trademark it, but I'm not going to because I'm a broke son of a bitch. But yeah.
How old are you? Like, how broke son of a bitch old are you? I'm gonna guess 24, but I could be way off.
You're off little.
Oh, not too bad. 28.
I'm 22.
Shit,
He's
I
a
was
young
off. I was
pup.
going the other direction. Yeah, you are youngin'. So what's it like being? We're just gonna dive into some all sorts of shit. What's it like being 22? So that's not what I mean. That's not what I mean.
Really?
I mean,
What's it like being 22?
like you grew up with like it's
cool.
You've been
Is it cool?
I
Is
remember.
it really cool, man?
Tell you what, when I was 22, I was a shit show. But we didn't have half this stuff. I don't think Facebook even came out until like it was MySpace, and that was
That's because we
I
were
was
born in the
20.
1900s.
right.
Yeah, you're old, dude.
I know. I know.
Shit.
I'm 37, so it's disgusting to say that out loud. But here we are. Greg's older than me, so you, Greg,
It's fine.
you old man,
Love you, Dad.
old balls. So, but I asked that question to be like, so I got the title, the TikTok side of hunting, and you have a profile over there. That's how I came to know you. And there's a few nights where I'm hanging out with you young bucks on TikTok, and y'all are drinking and having a good time, and I'm like working, and I'm just turning this thing on to be like, what are these guys doing? And they're probably like, oh, here comes Grandpa Eric with the OKS Hunter crashing our party. But to that end, you've grown up with social media. It's omnipresent since the day you like could probably walk. It's not been that way for us, old fuckers.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
So it's different. Like, I'm curious to hear from your perspective then, because there's an alternative perspective I could hear about all the time from like my dad and on people our age and so forth. So
like I really didn't like get on social media or like pay attention to it till I was like 14. So that was 8 years ago or something like that. I can't do math, but I had a Facebook account when I was like 8, and I played Farmville with like my parents' 50-year-old friends and shit. But it's always just been like an everyday thing. Every time I wake up in the morning, you check your notifications and stuff, and it's kind of drawn out now, but like that's just part of life in today's day and age. I guess it's weird.
man, I didn't get my first cell phone, which is a prepaid Nokia, until I was like 17.
I was in college when I got my first prepaid.
And I didn't get on the social media, so like Facebook, and I think I was like 22 or something, and I was like, holy shit, we can invite people to our parties with this. I was like, guys, we can make an event, which became a different problem because then cops started figuring out that you could do events, and that didn't go so great over time. But part of the OKS Hunter mission is to eradicate, and then we're never going to fully solve the problem, but we try to like mitigate, hunter bashing, hunter shaming. And you'd think that would come from like the non-hunting community or the antis, but by and large, it comes from other hunters typically. Like, you should have passed on that deer. How dare you shoot that thing? That was my buck. I had it on the trail cam first, or, whatever, all the stuff. We've heard it. But I didn't learn about that until 4 years ago. Like, you've probably been seeing that kind of stuff your whole life is the kind of point I'm making. So your perspective on it's got to be quite different, or you're just more thick-skinned and used to it. I don't really know. And I'm using you as a spokesperson for all young people right now. If you didn't
Big
pick up
platform,
on that.
Corey.
Yeah. Hope you got big shoulders because it's a pretty heavy load.
I don't. But it's just the usual, like you scroll through every day, you're going to see it. And I've seen it for most of my conscious adult life. So I'm just used to it, Of course, like seeing it all the time, you're going to get used to it, but it's not cool. Like I posted a video of an 8-point I shot in New York this past year during rifle season. And I mean, everyone's like, you should have passed that. Why'd you hike 3 miles deep to shoot a 100-inch 8-point? I was like, well, it was the first buck with my dad's old gun, so it was cool. And then I just told him to fuck off. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that.
Yeah, you can say stuff. You can swear. I think I've already dropped 2 F-bombs.
It's a good point, though.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
That's see, I get all what do they call it, triggered. And then I got to like cool myself off a little bit, and I got to take a walk around the block before I get a response out there, because I'm trying to, one of the Stoic quotes that I've read somewhere along the way, and I don't know if it was Aurelius or Seneca or knows which one it was, but it was like, if you want to like get even with someone or get back at them, the best way to do that is just be better than them. Like, and so I'm like, well, I'm not going to fire with this person. I'm just going to take the higher road here and be an example of what I want the world to be and to see. So I always have to like give myself some separation, because there's this space in between action and reaction. And the bigger I can make that space, the cooler my head can be when I enter that space. If I don't take that time between action and reaction, it could be ugly, because I'm a human and so is everybody. And I don't think a lot of people recognize that they have this ability to take some time in between that and think about it for a second. Think about where that person's coming from, because everyone believes that they are good and that they are doing good things, that they are just, and they're putting out a good vibe in the world. They don't realize they're being a dick half the time. That's not entirely true, because some people like just want to watch the world burn, as they said in that Dark Knight movie. But I think younger people probably do have thicker skin. Like, I think I probably should not respond to a lot of trolls, but I can't help myself.
I don't know.
I like.
Oh, go ahead.
Love starting arguments.
Yeah. You got any good
It's
ones?
my favorite every day.
So, like, your account on TikTok, quite specifically, for some time you were clearly into, I don't know what those sunglasses are called. The visor, what are they called? Like the face sunglasses? Again, I'm aging myself.
The Vipers?
There's-
No.
Yeah.
No, they're style. Is that what they're called? Vipers?
Pit Vipers?
Pit Vipers are a brand of them. Heat Waves are a brand of them. They're just like big, giant freaking shields on your face. Yeah.
So for like a duration of time, I'd see Corey on TikTok, and I'm like, there's that dude with the glasses. But I also saw, like, yeah, you got in some dogfights on the internet, dude. Like, people were trying to chew you up. And they're like, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. Why is he wearing those stupid sunglasses? And then I had like taken the time to learn more about your account from what I had seen. And you're a guide in PA. Like, you're guiding people on hunts. Like, how much time are you spending in the woods on an average week or average year?
Average week, I'm in the woods every day for at least 3 hours a day.
So then, like, people
Probably has a pretty good idea of what's
Right.
going on in the woods,
so
right?
then, like, people are headline readers. They're like, look at this punk kid in these, what do you call them? Fire glasses?
Viper.
Viper glasses.
Pit vipers.
What the fuck? Whatever. Sunglasses. I don't know.
We're old. We can't
And
remember.
they're just dogging you, man. Like, it's like, well, do you even know anything about Corey? Like, what is Corey even about? Dude's a guide. He's in the woods 3 hours a day. What are you doing, you keyboard cowboy, shitting on someone for doing stuff that they love? Like, what the hell? So my opinion is you're probably a better woodsman than most people, and you're putting yourself out on the internet. And, like, I don't know. That's what I'm just curious about it all.
I mean, yeah, people don't like the sunglasses because it automatically makes me look like a douchebag. And of course, I've got long freaking mullet half the time, so I also just look more like a douchebag. And I wear Sitka, so there's my
really stacking the odds in your favor.
You should just trade the Sitka in for the Canadian tuxedo.
If you're a guide, Sitka gives you a good discount, don't they?
They do, in fact. You're not supposed to talk about it,
All right.
but yeah.
Well, we're not guides. We can
I'm
talk
not a
about
guide.
it.
I'm not a guide. I don't get any
Fine.
discounts.
Yeah. But people really hated those sunglasses, like especially during turkey season. And one guy was like, you didn't shoot turkey today because it saw the reflection from your big ass fucking astronaut face on your astronaut helmet on your face. So I just made a video with carrying a turkey over my shoulders with the sunglasses on.
Oh, I didn't? Okay, here it is. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
Like, why does someone feel so, like, because it's not like them. You are different, therefore you're what, some sort of perceived threat or enemy, and thus your time in the woods is less than theirs. You're enjoying the same forest to some degree, not like quite literally, but like, why should that be lesser than? That's what I can't
He's
comprehend.
just doing with a pair of Pit Vipers and a mullet.
Right, but then that's gonna make another human mad.
It
That's
will.
weird to me.
Weird things trigger people. I don't know what else to say.
Could you imagine the life you're living if you saw a pair of sunglasses and you got mad?
So mad.
Like, you're just revving at 70, what the fuck number am I saying? 7,000 RPMs.
Oh.
And you're ready to teeter into the red zone.
'Cause
at
you
any
don't like
given
this
point.
dude's
Oh, the glasses
sunglasses.
are bad. That's it. My day's wrecked. Like, could you imagine what that life would be like? I burnt my tongue on my coffee. Day's ruined.
I've done that.
Maybe they're very well or something. Maybe I took their girl. Who knows?
Maybe you did. Mr. Steal Your Girl. Isn't that a rap song? I think
Piper's like girlfriend one day, like, and they're just got a grudge against it forever.
Yeah, there it is. Then he could say, "Are you
Their
you
problem.
my girlfriend?" Like, come on, no, but I'll take your turkey.
Gobble gobble.
Here you go. So 3 days in the wood, 3 hours in the woods per day a week. That adds up. You've seen some stuff. What are some of the craziest things you've seen? Because you're out in East Coast, Pennsylvania, New York. I don't geographically.
Where I'm sitting, I'm like 80 yards from New York right now, but I'm in Pennsylvania. Craziest thing I've seen in the woods. You guys have Fisher cats?
We have fishers in the North Woods.
Okay, so
Like a weasel.
Yeah, it's part of
Big-
the weasel family.
Big weasel.
Big weasel.
it's like a big, angry freaking weasel.
It's like a mini
so-
Wolverine.
The Game Commission Pennsylvania Game Commission reintroduced this a few years back, like when I was like a little tiny kid. And it was probably 3 or 4 years ago. I was looking for a specific turkey that had, big hooks because I like killing big turkeys, I guess. And I saw him, and I saw it and then 4 other turkeys going to roost. And they get up in the tree, and then all of a sudden I see a black little animal just running through. I'm like, okay, what is that? And I realized it was a fisher, and it went up the trees, killed all the turkeys in a matter of like 4 minutes, and then peaced out. And I was like, I thought I was like the apex predator in the woods. That freaking little tiny furry animal that's on cocaine beats everything.
Dude, those things are wild, and like they're related to the weasel. And have
Yeah.
you seen those videos of like the little weasels up, like that one up in Canada? You see the video of it chasing that snowshoe hare down the road? You ever see that? There's a weasel, little white weasel, in this snowbank. Like they plowed this road up in Canada. There's 4-foot snowbank drifts on each side, and the snowshoe hare is hopping down the road. Somebody's driving down there, and this weasel's chasing it. Weasel's like a sixth of the size of the snowshoe, and it's hopping and hopping, and the weasel's just running full out. And eventually, the rabbit just kind of slows down to look back, and the weasel just jumps on it and freaking kills it and drags it over the snowbank. And the weasel's like this big.
Mhm.
They are ferocious predators, man. They really are.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's like honey badger don't give a shit. Seems something like that. That's a kind of a cool thing to witness and a little terrifying in some way. There's a
He was
bear in Dousman.
It's been there all summer,
How do you know? Did someone
It's
send
been-
you footage?
dude. It's been on
I
the
got that
news,
footage. No, right. However,
but it's been between Dousman. It's been between Rome Pond.
Yep.
It was out my way for a little while, and it's worked its way over.
so this is why it's interesting. That was a video that was shared with me by someone who was whitetail hunting this weekend
Cool.
in the marsh of and I'm assiding us here, Corey, but in Rome Pond, like
Yep.
probably where Info does his workshops, I'm guessing. Maybe not. I don't know because I've never been there. But he's like, here I am whitetail hunting, and I hear something coming, and it's a freaking black bear. And so he got it on camera, and he's like, I'm not on social media. You can have the video. I don't care. He's like, go nuts. But I would never expect to see a black bear on my whitetail hunt down here. I know that
Mhm.
they're around, but the likelihood and odds
So-
of that encounter, he's like, oh, I was freaked out. It's a pretty large bear. He's like, I don't know how big bears get, but any bear that size is probably going to do some damage. It's like it climbed a tree. It came down. It was doing stuff. I could hear it breathing. It was like right there. So, I mean, that's an interesting encounter that I wouldn't expect to have happen
around
down here.
here.
Like
No.
where you're hunting and like down this way, like you might see that bear. I don't know. That's crazy.
I'll say hi to him.
So you guys have a lot of
In the Northwoods, there's plenty.
Northwoods. Yeah.
We have a lot
Northwoods.
of bears in
We
northern
have wolves,
Wisconsin.
bears. We have mountain lions, but we're like in the burbs of right in between Milwaukee and Madison,
Yeah, that kind of stuff's not.
so
too
it's not
usual
super
around here.
common.
No, we don't have large, big, vast tracts of public land or
Timber.
timber or anything.
bears are like stray puppies here. They're just everywhere.
Well, that's what they're turning into around here.
But you got to worry.
They're annoying.
You got to worry about them coming up on you. You know, I don't know. I don't know. I don't really deal with it.
I got bluffs charged during turkey season because I was in the wrong place, but like, no, The only thing I got to worry about is them tearing up my garbage every Tuesday morning.
I was gonna say I'd be more worried about a bear you see by your house eating
Mhm.
garbage than I would be about a bear you see in the woods.
Yeah.
You know, they don't want to tolerate you. They want to get out of there.
Yeah,
But if they're eating your garbage, they're like, I want that cheeseburger. You better move.
interesting. Unless you cross into their territory or something in the woods, or they're with cubs, or you know.
If
what
you
I
get
mean?
between them and their cubs, a sow and their cubs, you
Yeah.
probably want to
Yeah,
move.
then it's gonna be trouble.
My dad got treed by a sow. She didn't put him up the tree. He was in a tree, and then he was deer hunting in the Nicolet National Forest off of Mail Route Road. If anyone knows where that is, I don't know. It's just like a airstrip over there. And he was in this tree, and along came this huge sow with 2 cubs, and he's like, "Well, I can't get down now because you're not going to try to tango with that. She could see you as a threat, or that you're after the cubs or something." So I don't remember what the story was completely. I forget. It's been so many years, but it was before I was hunting with him, and his buddies were already at the bar. I don't know if the walkie-talkies were working at that range because there weren't cell phones yet. And I think they're like, "Where's Chuck?" And they had to come and like shoot their gun to get the bear to run off so he could get down.
So his friends came to see where he was.
Yeah. They kind of knew where he was, and they parked by his truck and like, we're like, I'm pretty sure that's how the story went to some degree. I'm probably missing some details. I'm assuming my dad will tell me after he listens to the podcast. He'll give me a call on Wednesday.
But hey, that's just another plug for like be safe out there. Always let somebody know where you're hunting.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
A friend of ours up by the cabin went out in his climber. Yeah, the climber,
Mm.
and he was climbing down at dark and got almost to the bottom where he was like going to get ready. He was like maybe 5 feet off the ground and slipped backwards with his feet in. You know, the climber have those straps.
Yeah.
Fell backward with his toes stuck in there. So he ended up tearing all the ligaments. He hung upside down for like 2 hours till someone who knew where he hunted drove there, saw his car still there, and went to go look for him. He was hanging upside down from his climber, you know, just above the ground, but he couldn't get out.
All the blood rushed to his head.
Yeah. Couldn't get out.
Probably blacked out.
Oh man, that's kind of sketchy.
So let somebody know where you hunt. You never know when something
Good point.
stupid's going to happen.
Yeah. Especially
Spartan Forge has their Blue Forest tracker live now. You guys know what that is?
So you can see where.
You can share pins now on their app. That was a limitation they had before. So now if you're on Spartan Forge, you can share a pin.
Cool.
So that's kind of cool. So I expect to get some pins from you guys. Just gonna
You
put
don't
that out
want
there.
them. You don't want them. You
Yeah,
want
we're
to do
not
it your
seeing
way.
anything. We're
You
not-
want to do
I
it under
got-
your own merit.
I
You don't
got
need
lots-
any
I
pins.
do. I actually have tended to kill better on my own merit, which is funny. For all of your
good.
guys' effort, I've somehow did it on my own every
It's
time.
okay.
That's perfect.
but you're
kinda-
you're taking a little piece of this and that, and you're using some of it. Making it your own.
I had other questions for you.
How did you get into guiding? I mean, you're a young guy. Like,
Yeah.
what was your
you say
route? How did you
22?
get into that?
Yeah. What made you decide to do it?
So during COVID, when I was in college, it was my freshman year, I got stuck in New Mexico, and it was right on the San Juan River, and the lodge that my buddy worked for was short on fly fishing guides, and I'd grown up fly fishing, so they just hired me on, and I just realized I really enjoyed taking people to enjoy the outdoors and being able to see people do their first, like catch their first fish on a fly rod, or kill their first turkey, or see their first 40 pack of geese dumping into a cornfield, especially kids, like seeing the smile on a kid's face after they just did something for the first time outdoors related. It really like pulls on my heartstrings to be able to be a part of someone's like forever memories, like when they're 70 years old and be like, I caught my first fish with this tan kid with a mullet. I goose hunted for the first time with this kid. I shot my first turkey with a random kid from Pennsylvania. And I like being a part of people's experiences.
That's a very great answer.
That's awesome.
That's like
That's why you should do it, right? Like,
Yeah.
good for you.
and you see why I get pissed off when people are shitheads on social media. People are reading headlines insofar as they're watching a 10-second clip and making a judgment based off of that. And I think that's not very nice. So I get bothered by it when I hear this other, version of this dude that's like doing things that are pulling on his heartstrings. That's pretty awesome, man. And when you put in the kind of time you put in, I imagine you're doing a good job guiding. Like guiding, there's to Derek's point about like being safe. I always forget to do this. There's a level of responsibility you carry as a guide.
For sure.
And I know like there's guides that are out in Alaska, out west, and so forth, but like people are looking to you for all of it. not just the encounter, not just the opportunity, but like safety. Like
Yep.
you have to know some things. What were there qualifications formally that you had to go through to be a guide, or are you just like, no, I'm going to take people to my hunting spots? Like, I'm assuming there's some spectrum there, but I don't know if there's like a legit. In some cases, there's like an apprenticeship you have to go through. I think, but I don't actually
So
know.
in Pennsylvania, you don't need a license or anything to guide for anything except for elk. You need to get a guide license for elk in Pennsylvania, but everything else you can just say, hey, pay me and we'll go. But I grew up in a family that did a lot of work in the fire service and EMTs and stuff like that. So I was always around first aid stuff, and I took all those courses in high school. And I get first aid certified and stuff like that, just in case if anything does happen in the woods, I can potentially, take care of it. I didn't want to take people out that didn't exactly know what they were doing and not be safe. I go through, especially with like waterfowl. If we shoot geese and I'm out retrieving the geese, gun barrels in the air, not pointed at me downrange. But yeah, first aid definitely it. CPR certified and stuff like that. You got to be safe.
Yeah, Calder just commented, was it a difficult process to become a guide? And I imagine, imposter syndrome's like a thing in some cases, but I don't know that that's something you'd ever deal with, other than like there has to be a certain level of confidence you have in the knowledge of the species, the weapon, firearm, otherwise, and the ability to like navigate all that successfully to put someone on something that if they're going to pay you. So what happens if someone doesn't have any level of success? Like, are you like, sorry, bro, you paid me?
If there's absolutely no chance for them to shoot at anything, if we're turkey hunting and I call a turkey and if they miss it, I'm keeping the money. But if there's no turkeys at all, I give them half their money back. I don't feel right taking all their money for an experience that was subpar, but I have to pay my bills, I have to pay the gas that I did to scout and stuff like that, but half their money back. Yeah.
That's pretty commendable.
Very
like,
fair.
Is that something guides do? I don't know. I feel like no.
Some guides don't. I like to. All the guides that I'm friends with do that, but there's definitely some guides that don't do their homework and they just like to call themselves a guide and make money off of people that don't know any better.
I'm a guide now.
What do you mean? Yeah. Well, but that's the thing too, though. Like that's a very real possibility, especially if you're near any metropolitan city, right? You're gonna have people who don't know, who are going out for an experience and don't really know what to expect, and those people can be taken advantage of very easily. Like, think of you probably know like how it works. Like, what if you go on a fishing charter here in Wisconsin, and you go out and like sometimes you're a victim of the weather or of just an off day, but like
there are a handful.
What happens if you go out on a fishing charter and you don't catch shit?
Yeah, there are a handful of charters, locally that do give full refund.
If they
or they give a partial refund because let's be honest, if you're running dual big blocks in a 35-foot tiara and you take people out, you're burning gas, a lot of it. Yeah, so. There are guys that do give full cash back, and there are some that take a little bit for the gas.
Well, I think, like you said, Corey, like keeping half of it, you deserve half of it just for the experience of, hey, you're providing this level of safety, whether it's just like, most guides who are taking people out know something about what they're going after, right? Like you're going out turkey hunting, you know about turkeys a little bit. But like you had mentioned, you knew about bears. Like that's a huge thing. Like your knowledge and experience with bears is like part of the reason they're going with you. Because if you see one, you've got a little insight about what to do. And someone who hasn't experienced one might be freaking out, like totally justified. But like that's part of what they're paying for too, is like your overwatching eye, I would say. So I think that's very fair.
I think the hardest part of like actually becoming a guide that's reputable in some sort of sense was like, I'm 22 years old. No one, when you think of like a guide that's reputable, you think of some 60-year-old dude, and my first couple of clients, like I did a good job, and ever since then it's been on the uptick where someone will recommend me actually, like on Facebook, if someone asks for a turkey guide or a waterfowl guide or something like that. And I really enjoy the fact that I've been able to put people on good experiences in the woods.
I think it's kind of cool though too. Like we go back to the TikTok side of the pendulum here, and 6-year-olds, well, not too many of them are spending time on social media platforms like TikTok or Instagram or YouTube even. And to that end, you're where people are spending their time, so they're seeing the content you're putting out. And they're like, oh, interesting. Let's use a guide. If you put enough content for long enough, in today's day and age, there's no more gatekeepers. You don't have to pay some network publisher to then put your stuff out onto Sportsman's channel. Like you can go down that route, but you don't have to. You can just show up every single day by posting every single day on these platforms where people are spending their time. And suddenly now you are in their stream. And I watch the Hunting Public a lot. I feel like I know those guys. So we had an encounter with them at Vortex when we were leaving, and I got not starstruck, but I'm feeling like I'm being awkward because I feel like I know him.
I know you.
I know you because I see you all the time. And meanwhile, he's like, whoa. Who's approaching me? Like, what's going on right now? Like, that's
Santa. I know him.
exactly. No, but to that point though,
You shouldn't have asked him to sit on your lap. That was weird.
yeah, it was a
Yeah,
little
it was did kind of a
Yeah.
little weird.
But to that point, like you can really, like, it doesn't matter necessarily as much as it probably would have even 10 years ago that you're young. I think to that degree, you probably have a bit of an advantage because you're in a content stream right now. And if you're putting in that kind of wood, you're compounding that now. If you're putting in that kind of time in the woods, you're compounding that knowledge.
You're pounding in the wood.
Pound that wood.
What came out of my mouth? Because I don't
You
know.
were
This
pounding
hole
wood
keeps
over there.
getting deeper.
It does.
Guys,
Rudy.
I'm not with it today. I'm telling you. Anyway,
But that's the other positive side to what you're saying is like showing up, people build a rapport with you and through social media.
they think they know you.
But,
They feel
like,
comfortable already.
Not that it's like a, post everything you do and accomplish as like a pedigree or
Mhm.
like your resume, but as a guide, it's great for people to see what you've done and accomplished and other successful hunts that you've like led others on social media. Cause that says maybe, what a 60-year-old gray haired guy's beard would have said to somebody else back then. Oh, look at all this experience. This guy looks like
Wise.
he's experienced it, but they can kind of see that on your social media now. So
But that 60-year-old
Yeah.
guy's not going to fireman carry me out of the woods, is he?
he's also not wearing pit vipers though.
He's
I don't
wearing those
care.
other ones that cover his glasses. What are those called? The old people
the
glasses?
giant wraparound.
Yeah.
The blue blockers?
So that's going to be your evolution in your career. You can go from pit vipers to blue blockers in the course of your lifespan.
He's got 45
That could be a new
more
trend to
years.
start, buddy.
No,
Nope.
not for me.
No, you got it
Watch
good.
really point it and hop on the train, but it ain't being started by me.
Your heart's in the right spot. You got a good kind of disposition towards the world, and I think it's pretty cool. How many? I know you're not a whitetail guide. Have you done whitetail guided hunts? Because I want to switch gears into whitetail. And do you hunt whitetail? So I think I asked you like 3 questions there.
I do hunt whitetails. I got a pretty sizable wall of whitetails. I just don't find as much enjoyment in it anymore compared to how I used to when I was a kid. But yeah, I've done, I think 5 guided whitetail hunts just for people that like family friends that come up from different parts of the country and stuff. But I've never taken money for a guided whitetail hunt. It's just pro bono.
Pro bono.
Now you're speaking Eric's language.
Should have been a lawyer. Watch too much Suits.
My wife loves that show.
I love that show. I love all the lawyer shows. They're kind of weird. But
It's a
look at that. Look at that. What do you got there?
139 on a New York skull cap because it's not big enough.
That's a beauty, man.
Public. So talk about you're like 80 yards from New York in PA. Help me understand where you're at. And are you hunting both states? And what, like, you got to be close to Steve Shirk. He's the big PA guy there. Sorry, Derek has a question, I think.
That's a great question, but there was a pretty interesting little chip out of the G3. I was wondering if there's a good story with that.
How the hell?
Yeah, I saw it too.
The guy
Was that on a
doesn't-
gun?
Well, yeah,
Good
what's the story, Corey?
Yeah, Corey.
Yeah, there it is.
that-
There it is.
That looks like a 30
I
caliber
think
bullet.
I know what that looks like. Let's hear the story.
Yeah.
So I shot it like that. There was word about. I shot this when I was like 15 or something, or 16. I don't know. There was word about a pretty sizable buck, like on my road, but in New York. And one night I heard a loud pew, and You know, it was 2 a.m. You hear a gunshot. So I immediately assumed that this deer was dead. 3 days later, I'm archery hunting, and this deer walks by, and I shoot it. And I was like, cool. And I walk up, and that little hole is right there.
No shit.
Oh man.
That's pretty wild. Yeah, somebody was trying to head shoot that sucker or something, and
He was moving around a little too much, and they couldn't seal the deal.
that's really cool.
Yeah, right.
was
You
weird.
gotta just gotta admire it. Like that pause, that stare. Yeah, that is like a collective response from the entire whitetail community. You know, often I'll just get distracted looking at this deer on that work, like or that one. I'm just like, oh yeah. I don't know what it is about these things. It's like some guys are car guys and they'll just stand over an engine with the hood cracked open for hours drinking beer, like King of the Hill. But that's us with deer. I don't give a shit about what's under the hood of a car. I really don't care. It's not my jam. I can appreciate a nice, engine or something if it's got a rowdy enough cam, maybe, but it ain't the same for me.
Well, I got a TV upstairs and I got a TV downstairs. The one upstairs is closer. If I'm ever watching a show alone, I'm going downstairs so I can look at the deer.
Yes.
Every time.
Yeah, you got a good basement.
Sorry.
You brought up Steve.
Yeah, you can fire away.
Yeah, no,
with
I
your
just did
Steve
because
shirt.
I was thinking about guiding whitetail. So you don't officially do that, or it's like pro bono. You don't take money for it, but you're a whitetail hunter to some degree. And I know Steve Shirk's out that way. So I'm just trying to understand geographically where you're at. I don't know Steve. I know him through Spartan Forge because he's on their I think he's on their pro staff in some capacity. I mean, Spartan Forge has like the most dream team pro staff of all of the whitetail world, if you ask me. And someone else could argue that if they wanted to, but like, good luck. Go to their website and take a look. But Bill knows Steve, and Steve has perceivably like how many trail cams do you think he runs, guys? And so when I say that, I ask it because to be a whitetail guide, you got to have a lot of good intel.
I believe it's over 100. I just listened to an episode of him.
I think close to 200, I think.
Yeah,
I think he's over 150 now.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Steve Shirk lives 15 minutes away from me.
Cool.
So you guys are like, could you guys be You're pretty young. So maybe he like doesn't want to hang out with you because of your weird glasses. I don't know.
One of my best friends. And I've hunted a lot of places where Steve also hunts for turkeys and deer and whatnot. But yeah, one of his cousins is one of my best friends, and that I've never had a conversation with the man longer than 5 minutes. But in that 5 minutes, he unloaded so much knowledge about deer hunting that I was just taken aback, and how deer work and function in the big woods of Pennsylvania. And it's like, whoa, like I didn't think you could break it down into that much of a science, but he's got it down pat.
Yeah, I think that's pretty unique about Steve.
Makes him pretty hireable.
Well, yeah, there's guys who
Like,
deer
yeah.
hunt, and then there's guys who analyze every single thing. And Steve is that.
He's that next
I
level
love
guy.
listening to him, and I've watched every YouTube video because he just is on another level of like what he notices in the woods is really pretty impressive.
That's like how you noticed the one branch was dinged higher up on a path going into some thicket.
Saw
And I'm
another
like,
one of those on Saturday.
I'm like, how are you? I wouldn't have seen the path, let alone the dinged branch up high, and I wouldn't have thought twice about it. Like, you are analyzing at such a deep level in some cases to do good work in the whitetail woods if that's what you're after. I'm just having a good time. I don't know.
Cheers to that.
I'll look at the obvious sign and make some inferences and like put myself in a halfway decent position, because to me, like, I'd say we promote never pass, and I mean that in the sense of never pass what makes you happy. So to each his own. Like, it's hunt your own hunt. I don't care what you're going to do, and I'll be damned if you're going to tell me the whitetail herd is going to be decimated by people shooting spikes. Like, I just think that's not accurate, or the tags wouldn't exist. And that's all different based on CWD, not CWD, different parts of the country, so on and so forth. And then I think bashing other hunters can do more detriment faster than the herd can be decimated to ruin our way of life. Now, I don't know what the hell I was going to say. Oh, yeah, my base, I actually think I might have a standard. I think it might be like 110. I don't know what that means.
That's
What
a
is
good
that?
standard.
I don't know what that is. That's probably 110, right?
No,
What is that? Less than that?
it's probably 100.
100.
100?
It's
Well, then
100.
there you go. My standard's about 100. 100,
Triple
110.
digits are great.
And I think I think I'm going on record saying that. Like, is Eric Clark going to shoot a spike? I probably won't.
What's happening?
But maybe I will.
It's happening.
But maybe I will.
It's happening.
Did you just set an inch-based goal of your deer season?
But I can't count. So like,
it's just outside Pope and Young. It's attainable.
but like,
we're getting
I'm not going to
somewhere.
get this deer again. That's
You don't know that.
So the hunter guys, the We Are Hunter podcast, HUNTR, they are all over the internet. They've done an excellent job with their SEO on their YouTube, and they put out great content. They are just chopping the shit up like crazy. I had that a post today about like the relative nature and subjectivity of that was a giant.
Oh yeah.
And you know, when I was 14, that was a giant.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 37. That is a giant. Now I know there are bigger deer that would be a giant. So like everyone's version of that is different, as they were saying. And I just find that to be fascinating. That I was like, I think, yeah, if I saw a deer like the little one you had under you, Greg, I'm not shooting that.
No.
It had spots on it. My kids, my son is like, well, Dad, you can't shoot the babies or the mamas, right? I was like, oh yeah, we're shooting the mamas. We're going to eat the mamas. But he's like, you can only shoot a daddy deer, right, Dad? And I'm like, oh yeah, we're shooting those too. So like, I don't know. It's different as a parent to some degree. They're going to look to me as like their idol, for better or worse, guys. But to that end, like how I articulate and talk about this stuff to them is going to make them the next. Like they're going to carry that into their career as a deer hunter. And career, I mean like as a deer hunter, not like in the professional way. Just the fact that like some people think that this way is right, some people think that way is right. It's because that's what Dad and Grandpa said.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're creating legacy here. So I'm just saying, I think that's my
Your giant
standard-ish.
Your giant comment is funny because I think we all have friends that when they say they saw a giant, you do like the double talk, like a giant or like a giant,
Yeah,
like because you know
Well,
a giant is like it was a 6-pointer, like to that guy, you know, like you got the one friend who's
Was
like,
it a giant with size 6 shoes?
But I
or
saw,
size
I
12
saw a
What kinda-
10-pointer the other night with my kids on a hike, and I texted you guys. I saw a 10-pointer is what I said. I didn't say monster because it wasn't. I knew it wasn't, but I knew it was like, oh, that was a buck. And so here's the one thing that I will say about that. I don't even know what I'm talking about, you guys, honestly. But is when I see a buck, it is full out, like out of control. It's a buck! Oh!
the alarms are ringing, bells are going on.
It's out of control. Jude barely got a glimpse of the thing, crashed on the ground, laid there like a dead log because he was so sad he didn't get to see the buck. You'd have thought I ripped his heart out. He's 2. And I was like, this is a great example of what happens when you don't get a buck. So I'll show you the video. It's pretty funny. He wasn't moving. He was really sad, lipping it and everything. But no, man, I don't know. So the hell are we talking about? Steve Shirk's a maniac for starters.
Well, I got a
That's smart.
question for Corey. Just talking about our
Yeah.
kids. I brought my son along last year. He was 5. He sat in the tree with me. We shot a doe. It was just amazing being part of that experience and having him there and seeing his reaction. And the legacy thing is in your head. And like, so you guided 5 people. Like deer, I don't know. Everybody's first experience for things is cool. And like turkeys is cool. But I think the 3 of us at this table can agree that like deer is a little bit different experience than a turkey. It's a big game animal. It's a mammal. It's different. So like your 5 guided experiences, were you with like anyone who killed their first deer first time ever? Like, did you have that experience?
Yeah. 3 of them killed their first deer ever.
That's
and
awesome.
it was like I was 7 years old again and killed my first deer.
Yeah,
It's probably better. Like it was, I mean, the whole tree, their tree stands were shaking. I'm sitting there shaking with them. Like it's awesome. And there's no other word to describe that other than it's fucking cool to be able to see that and how people react. Because when you shoot your first deer, you can't see how you're reacting. You know,
Good point.
like you may have memories of it. You may think you know what it was, but you don't see how you're reacting. And then be able to see other people and how they react to it. It's awesome. Yeah. One person shot their first buck and it was 140-inch 8-point.
Wow,
Damn.
That's
And-
tough to beat after that.
Oh, that's cool.
And then I was like, listen, I've lived in Pennsylvania all my life. I've got one buck that's in 140 inches in Pennsylvania. Yeah. So
Do you
congratulations.
Yeah. Do you understand what you just did? Good for you. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
They're like, well, I don't know. You guided me. Like, that's what I'd say.
That's really cool.
I didn't do shit. It's like the turkey I shot. I didn't do a damn thing. Greg did all the work. All I had to do was pull the trigger. So
I put you on the spot. Matt did the calling.
yeah, it was
Did a
beautiful.
phenomenal calling, and Keegan was the trigger man on the camera.
Yeah, it's fun to have a guided hunt experience. I think there's some. Do you? So this is I think something guides deal with. Do you? Because you're putting in so much work. I mean, we're talking. You said 3 days or 3 hours a day every week. That adds up. Do you ever have any? And I don't know. I wouldn't because I just operate differently. But like some guides, I imagine, like in the fishing realm too, like you could hire a guide and then try to like recreate that yourself or use that spot or that intel. Do you have any concern with people that are like hiring you and then, well, now they're going to go to the spot you took them to?
It really depends. For waterfowl, I don't have an issue with that. They're not going to encroach on my spots. Got those locked down. For turkeys, that's when I get a little, worried about it. Like if I see their phone pop up and Spartan Forage or Onyx is on their screen, right?
Dropping pins. Hey, what are you doing over there, buddy? No.
Yeah, I'm not too like they can do whatever. I mean, at the end of the day, if they want to hunt a spot I took them to that's public land, they can do it. All they have to do is be able to hunt better than me, and they'll have success.
That's fair. It's just interesting. You have to put in so much work to gain that intel to find the right, spot. To the whitetail side of it, though, I think it's a moot point because the lay hunter that hasn't put all that work in, they're just going to pick a spot on that because they thought that was the spot. But at the end of the day, it's like they don't understand the variables of like, well, the crop changes, the acorns aren't falling, different time of the year, they're rutting, they're not rutting, they're this or that, the wind is doing like, they're not even aware of half of those factors or a fraction of them. Therefore, yeah, go hunt that spot again, pal. Good luck. Like you ain't gonna have any success because you had no idea how I solved this math problem. You just wrote the answer down.
Yeah.
That's a super interesting point. And I think about that all the time. Like when I'm out in the woods just scouting, it's just like how everybody sees the same piece of woods so differently. And like it can change your perspective on a piece of wood just by the way you walked into it the first time. Like that kind of gets burned in your brain. I don't know if you guys have ever had that, but like the first time you've walked a property or an area, like in your head, the first time you visualized everything, like it's always kind of there. It's hard to change that perception as you like get to know a spot. But everybody sees everything so differently. And then you think like, how would Steve Shirk, a guy like that who thinks in that level, like how would they see it?
Yeah.
It'd be so different than what you'd have 20 people walk it and everybody would have a different view.
He'll slice up a property, way different than I ever would. And I'm like, I did some speed scouting with him a couple of years ago in your neck of the woods, actually. Mm-hmm. And not in another spot that's not in your neck of the woods. And I would have just hunted it. Because I'm like, well, I drove here. I'm at this spot. I'm like, I don't know. This looks like a spot. Maybe I see some historical sign. And he's running through this property speed scouting. Nope, this property's shit. And it not entirely, but he's like, right now it is. Maybe it'll be good later, but now it is not. There's no deer here. You don't hunt this. Go find another spot. Go find another piece of land to go scout. And I'm like, what just happened? That just changed. And I, still to this day, I'm still not doing what I know to be true to be doing. Like I'm still not doing what he does that I should be. I'll still just go sit a spot because I'm like, well, this is the destination I had plotted to go hunt. I'll make the best of it. But deer hunting is a pain in the ass.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah. Cheers.
I don't know about bird hunting. I don't know. It's not. We got another podcast for that. You should go hang out with the Updeck guys. You can talk about bird hunting all night long with those guys.
I'm down for whatever, dude. I'm getting hammered.
What are you drinking? Another Bush. I love it. Tony Cordero said, this guy gets it. He thinks you get it. Same reason I mentor, because of the good you do for other folks. Calder asked, I think we asked this before we went live, so I'll let you answer publicly here in whatever fashion you want. But Calder asked, do you guide full time?
So, no. I own a ginseng business along with, I do random drywall jobs. So, drywall and selling roots to Asian people. That's what pays my bills.
And guiding for ducks and turkey and occasionally deer. Solid, man.
Occasionally.
Sounds good.
Pro bono.
Dude, I had some people do the drywall in here because I wasn't going to do it. Actually, I hung it, but then they did the mudding. and they probably hated me because I'm sure they probably could have hung it better than I did, is my guess. I don't know how those two things factor into each other, but I was like, I'm not mudding, but I can lift some things. So it felt like the logical approach.
I hate drywall with passion.
Well,
Mhm.
if you do it for a
With-
living, but that's only so relative too. Like, do you do it for a living? So people can ask us, do we do OKS Hunter full time? No, but we do. I put a lot of time into it. I probably put enough time into this for it to be a full time job. It's just not economically. It doesn't make sense. But you're putting 3 hours in. So to be a part time employee somewhere, you have to put in 15 hours of work a week. To be full time somewhere to gain benefits, you need 40 hours of work a week. I'm no math wizard, but you're in between there. You got 21 hours a week on the side hustle of guiding. That's a part-time job, bud.
Yeah.
On top of your 2 other jobs.
Well, and that's just his scouting time. If you take
That's
somebody
not
out,
the hunt.
you're adding more hours in there.
Yeah, you do 2 hunts in a weekend. That's 8 to 16 plus the 21. Carry the 2. I don't know what that equals. Something like 40 hours almost.
It's definitely a lot. It gets to be a lot. Like during like turkey season, during the middle of the season, I get wore out so bad that I don't even want to look at a turkey. And then I hear gobble again, and I'm just like a little kid. I'm
Right
like,
back in it. But yeah, those are early mornings, right?
Oh yeah.
Finally.
oh yeah, 4 a.m., 3 a.m.,
Man, I'm not a
2 a.m. if it's hot, you know.
And you do public lands, you got to fight for it. Like, you got to get there early.
Public land depends on the best opportunity for that specific person and what they can handle terrain wise. Like, I'm not going to take a 7-year-old guy 4 miles deep into the national forest. You know,
That's
Yeah.
that's a good point. You got to pick your spots not based on you. You got to pick your spots based on your client.
I'm bad at that, man.
No, you're not. I'm not your client. I can hang.
No, I brought people in places they should not have been before.
You like your dad, maybe? I don't know.
Everybody I know.
I love that.
I was fine with it.
Yeah, except for that last spot.
That last spot.
That was hell for both of us.
Yeah, it was. I don't know how many ridges we climbed in and out of, and we're hopping bogs. And
It was impossible to see how many ridges because we were just walking on
just walking.
trees for freaking
Yeah.
hundreds of yards.
that was brutal.
At what point does the sweat equity not become worth
Right there.
the result?
Right there, we found out it was
Right
like,
there.
nope, this is not the spot.
Shouldn't have left the skidder.
Nope, we should have stayed on the skidder path. Whoops. Instead, we went down Windblow Hill.
Yeah, we sure did.
Walking down fallen trees.
You know how many
is damn near
calories we blew?
impossible.
Like, we
Oh,
burned a lot of
we
calories.
burned. We were hungry when we got done.
Holly and I went to Governor Dodge State Park when we were still dating, and it was after a tornado had passed through. Like the government, I think Scott Walker at the time was just leaving when we got there with all those black SUVs because they were trying to assess the damage to determine how much funding the state was going to provide to the state park. And so we got there, camped, whatever, and then we went to this path, and you couldn't hike it. I was like, bullshit, we can hike it. We can hike it. You couldn't hike it. These are 100-year-old trees that got knocked down by a tornado. We weren't hiking shit.
Yeah.
I have photos of it. It looks unnatural. And she's like, "Are you sure? Like, we shouldn't go?" And I was like, "No, I'm sure we'll get back onto the path at some point." Talking about bringing people they shouldn't go, certain people. My wife was one of the ones that should not have gone
On
down
the
that.
most treacherous.
Yes.
Yeah.
Unrelated to everything, but related to that. A good friend of mine, the first time I went to the Boundary Waters, he actually led the trip. A guy
Mhm.
named Manny Felix, awesome guy. He and his wife and family do all these cool trips. They went up to Quetico, which is like the Canadian version of
Yep,
the
yep,
Boundary Waters. And he and his wife, who do all this cool outdoor stuff, they planned like a 15 or 16 day, like through all these lakes. He mapped it all out. And when they got up there, they made it in a couple lakes only to realize that a huge windstorm had gone through and all the portages were pretty much blocked and no one had been in there. So here they were like deep into there and they tried to go like a couple and carrying canoes and all their stuff. And they got like
Dangerously
it
lost.
was like stuck for a while and like made it back out the way they came in. But
Some of
he
those
said it was like
some of those portage spots don't see
really
people
bad.
for weeks.
Oh yeah, depending what lakes you go in, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like those wilderness areas. But he said like he's a pretty legit freaking guy. And he was like, it was actually pretty scary. They ended up getting on railroad tracks for a while
Really?
and walking railroad tracks out with their canoe for like a number of miles because the woods were so bad.
Wow.
Yeah, we got lost on Boundary Waters once. Some buddies of mine and I, but because we misjudged where the first portage was or something. So then we were just thinking we were somewhere we weren't relative to the map. So it wasn't so bad once we like figured that out, but it got pitch black and suddenly we're like,
Oh shit.
well, now we can't see anything. We're stuck in canoes in the water. Like, what the hell are we doing here? And started to get, we went from like happy go lucky having the time of our lives to like, this is a problem, guys. And we were like,
I knew we shouldn't have come. You're an asshole.
it got a little ugly for a minute. There's some yelling going on. I almost fell off a cliff and died. I mean, I probably would have died. I don't know. It was pretty intense. It's pretty intense. My buddy's like, let's just fashion up a way to drag these boats on this 100-rod portage. I was like, we're not engineering shit. Just grab it and drag, dude. Let's go. We don't got time for any of that. Like, the sun has gone down. The moon has come up. Let's get going. And him and I were butting heads about that. It was good. But and it was raining. And then we finally got to where we needed to be, and all the campsites were taken. And so I was like, well, it doesn't matter. We're putting a tent where we stand because we're done. We're not going to go into the wilderness in the pitch black night looking for the next situation. Let's just go to bed. We woke up. All those other campers were gone. And it was a beautiful day. And it was the best freaking time after that we could have ever
So
experienced.
just the worst start.
Yeah.
Ended well.
But the worst start and prepared us for like, this could go south. We're paying really close attention to these damn maps.
You'd rather have it start shit
Yeah.
than end shit
Yeah.
in my eyes. Like,
Yeah.
because that's going to put the best taste in your mouth. For
Yeah.
Coming back.
But I hope that's not true for deer hunting. Maybe. Start shit, end well. We'll see. When does Pennsylvania open up? Is it open already for bow hunting?
September 30th is opening day. Well, parts of it are open now, but September 30th, statewide archery season comes in.
Will you be out there for the opener?
Yeah, I happen to have probably the biggest Pennsylvania buck I've ever seen in my life on camera.
Woo!
So,
Good for you, man. That's
and he's
exciting.
dumb.
And he's what?
He's so dumb.
He's dumb.
He's dumb.
That's a great way to describe a deer. That's the best thing you could say about a deer. Oh, he's freaking dumb. Could you imagine from the deer you sent me, Derek? You said, "Oh, and Eric, he's stupid."
Well, to be honest, before hunting season start, I've thought that about many deer. And then as soon as season opens, I'm like, well, fuck, I'm dumb because I can't get them.
Yeah, vacation's over.
But hopefully he is dumb, Corey.
He's like a 180-inch typical buck, but he's following the same exact pattern as a buck in 2015 that I killed on opening day. I had an east wind, and that's what I needed, and he died. Same exact pattern, lives in the exact same place, follows the exact same route, goes in the exact same field, same spot, and he just happens to be 50 inches bigger than the buck from 2015. So
sounds like an
Dude,
upgrade.
if you kill that deer, you gotta send us a picture.
Oh yeah.
No, we're gonna get your ass on the
He's-
podcast.
Yeah,
Tell
you're
us
coming
a
back.
He's sick. I cannot wait for September 30th. First east wind I get, I'll be hunting, and hopefully it works out just like it did last time.
Cool.
That's really cool.
That's cool. Well, yeah, I know you can't post it on TikTok, so that's why I'm asking you to send us the photo. Because I won't know if it happens or not, because TikTok will shut you down if you post something like that.
Instagram.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
Everyone on TikTok's like, oh, do you even hunt? I'm like, do you know what platform we're on, bro? Like, no, I guess I don't. I can't post that shit here. Come on, you know this. As we're live on TikTok right now. I can't see what's going on over there, but there's some comments.
There's always comments like, never see you shoot anything. I'm like, we're on freaking TikTok, bro. Like,
I also can't run a camera to save my life in the woods. Like someone the
Oh,
other
yeah,
day was
me
like,
too.
"You gonna run cameras?" I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, I can't even kill a deer." Okay, like let's focus on one thing at a time here.
Yeah.
I can't even run a GoPro effectively because like the buttons are confusing. Is it powering on or is it recording? I don't really know, but it made a beep sound, which also isn't good.
It's got to be good to go. Knowing your GoPro, it's probably old batteries.
But I'm 37, guys. Remember, I'm old. So no, dude. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight, man. Appreciate you being here. Where do people find you with your with your trademark?
Instagram, life.of.Corey. TikTok, I just got banned for the 7th time, so I got a new account.
Yeah,
It's
dude,
just
your
Corey
account. I was like, didn't you have like a shit ton of followers?
I've had 250,000, 98,000, 62,000, 25,000, 13,000, 8,000, and now at like 1,300.
What do you?
They're
get-
effectively knocking you down.
What
They're
did they,
doing
What
it.
did they
Yeah.
ban you for?
Oh, this last time I just woke up and it was gone. So like I don't know. The big 250,000. I posted a video streaking on New Year's Eve. Gone. 98,000 account. I shot a coyote while on TikTok Live. Gone.
Oh, live.
Yeah,
they
that's the
they
only-
even picked up on the live. Oh my god. Someone at TikTok just watching you with their finger hovering over the button. If he shoots that thing, he's done. Oh, he's done.
Oh, he went to sleep. Done.
Well, like they banned the live, and then like 3 hours later, they're like, "Your account's permanently banned." I was like, "Well, you fuckers!" Like,
So what do you got to do? You got to make a new
People-
email.
it's a form of income for a broke 22-year-old.
Yeah.
Like if you get a lot of followers, but it sucks. But
So you have to make a new
Whatever.
email then, right? You can't just because it's associated with whatever email you use, I imagine.
yeah, right now I'm using that email from back when I was like 8 years old that I told you guys about earlier.
Right.
The risque one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, because I noticed. I was like, man, I feel like
You're gonna
I
get
was like, is
banned
this
for
the
that
same
email.
Corey? Because I thought you had more followers, but I think it's you. Yeah, it must be you. Okay, it's you. Yeah, I'm looking. That's weird. Maybe you didn't have a lot of followers. Maybe I'm just confused. But no, it makes more sense now. They just pull the rug out from you, huh?
Oh, they hate me. I'm most wanted hunter on TikTok by far.
I don't know that. What's his name? Jacoby gets.
Oh, he's the most hated hunter. TikTok actively hunts my ass. Every 3 months, I'm gone.
Man. Well, good to see her on Instagram. So, and it's Corey Corre, not with a Y.
Yeah, it's all sorts of fucked up. Don't ask me.
I didn't. Yeah, I'm not gonna. Parents do what parents do. I'm sure one day my daughter asked me why I gave her a boy name, so I gotta live with that.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it sounded cool.
Better than a boy named Sue.
I
This
guess
is
so.
true.
Yeah, maybe.
How do you do?
Guys, oh boy. All right, guys. Well, thanks for hanging out with us, Corey. We'll keep you on for a second here. We're gonna end the live broadcast. Everyone that tuned in, thanks a bunch. Tune in live next week. We'll have Bill Thompson with Spartan Forge on, although it'll be pre-recorded because I'm out for work, so I gotta go do some stuff. So, been trying to manage my schedule effectively and not miss a beat on the podcast. So, thanks everybody for hanging in there with us.
See ya.
Adios.